You know what it means to adopt a child, right?
Yes.
So I, I go to water fitness classes. So I meet many other people in the class and we tell stories and we share information. So this woman and her husband adopted two babies, two girls actually. And each of the girls was, they adopted two girls from an orphanage. You know orphanage? You know, orphan means a child who doesn't have a mother or father. And an orphanage is a place that takes care of the children that don't have mother and father. Okay? So they adopted a child. Actually, the child had a mother and father. But the mother and father said, we don't want this child anymore. We give this child away. Why? Because this child has special needs. She's deaf and blind. But this couple adopted the child because they thought somebody needs to take care of this family. We want to do this. We want to take care of this child. So they adopted the second girl recently and brought her. And I met her. Her body is very small because her parents didn't know how to take care of her, didn't feed her very much, and didn't educate her. They just, they didn't understand. They didn't have any special help about how to take care of children with special needs. Right? So my American friends, well, actually one is from America. I think the other one is, I think the husband is from maybe Australia. So anyway, they adopted a child from India. They spent a lot of money to do it. Legal fees, airfare back and forth, hospital, everything. So they really did it from their heart. So she was telling us about how her child was sitting in the high chair and she wanted to try to have the child increase the kind of food that she eat, right? Not just eat the same kind of food every day, but to add more flavors, add more textures, add more tastes to her diet. And when the child started to do something like throw the food on the floor, then the mother said, well, the mother, she can hear just a little bit, but not very well. She can see a little bit, but not very well. She told the child, she says, you're not allowed to throw the food on the floor. If you do that, you won't have anything to eat. So she said, when that happened, and she told the child several times, because the child can't learn right away, but if the child kept throwing it on the floor, then she said, okay, that's enough for you. She took her out of the high chair and put her down, and then the child had no food. So the child got hungry, and then the child understood, oh, if I do that bad thing, I don't get food. So maybe I better not do that bad thing anymore. Maybe I shouldn't throw my food on the floor. Okay? So the next time, it was meal time. Her mommy put her back in the high chair, and she started to eat the new food. I don't remember what kind of food it was, but it was different from what she was used to eating. And then she learned that, okay, if I behave the way mommy says, then I get to eat it. If I don't, I go hungry. Okay? But you see, if the child doesn't have any consequences, the child doesn't know. You keep throwing the food on the floor and mommy keeps feeding you. Hey, that's a game.
Exactly.
So that's why when you're taking care of children, you have to set limits. You have to decide what is acceptable for you, what's not acceptable. If it's not acceptable to throw your food on the floor, or to bang on the table, or to kick and scream, then you have to have, if you kick and scream, or if you throw your food, these are the consequences, and you have to follow through. Don't worry, you're not going to starve your kid for a week. You're just not going to give the kid food at this moment. Next meal, you'll give the kid food, then the kid will start to learn. So that's what we're talking about when we say set the limits. So now the kid knows, this is the way I should behave. I should try the food and eat it. Because if I throw it on the floor, mommy's not going to give me any more. All right? So that's what we're talking about when we say to set the limits And that's how the child begins to understand what's right and wrong, what's good and bad, what's acceptable and unacceptable, right? And what happens if you do it right? You get to eat. What happens if you do it wrong? You go hungry. That in this example. Okay? Does that make sense? Okay. Any other ideas that you want to share or any comments? Okay, thanks.